got tennis elbow, so I was going to do a quick video on that. Um, yeah, he's a big power lifter type guy, big, strong man that lifts heavy weights, and basically just saying, especially when he's gripping, doing deadlifts, for example, he's getting a lot of pain kind of on the outside of the elbow. I asked him kind of what things help him. He says usually that I don't know if you've seen that there's that little tennis elbow brace. Basically, just adds a little compression on the outside of your elbow. Feels pretty good, but he says when he doesn't wear it, it comes right back. So he asked me to make a quick video for him to kind of find some suggestions or ideas that we can do. So yeah, we're going to go right into it. So again, tennis elbow typically is pain on that outside of your elbow. Painful typically with gripping, carrying items, wrist movements, particularly this kind of movement. So we're going to try a few things to work on that. Obviously, when you've got an injury, you want to take it slow, take it small steps at a time. And obviously, I'm going to show you with some weights. Sometimes the weights I'm going to have are probably a little too much for starters, and I don't have any other weights. Basically, I got what I got. But you can mimic what I'm going to do with some smaller weights. First thing though is just some grip, work on that grip strength, because again, gripping typically is quite painful for people with tennis elbow. So I mean that can be done anytime, anywhere, really. Even if you got a desk job or a job where you're up on your feet a lot, you don't necessarily need to grip anything, but trying to grip with your hand around a larger object is good. So even say, for example, it's my left arm that's sore, grabbing my other fist and just squeezing it and holding that for 5 seconds, let's say, and then relaxing, and then doing that repetitively, 5, 10 reps throughout the day. So that you're walking around, you just gotta give yourself a squeeze. If you don't want to do your other hand, you can even just squeeze your fist. Again, you're gonna squeeze, hold 5 seconds or so, and then release. Um, Another exercise. So then that's one. That's one easy one you can do anytime, anywhere. Another one that I find is quite good is kind of sometimes you'll see if you go to physio, they'll give you like a hammer or something that. So you have a weighted object. Ideally, you have the weight further away from your hand. So like a hammer is a good one. So you hold the hammer by the handle, and then you're doing that slow uh, palm up, kind of palm down movement with the wrist. What you want to kind of consider is that you're moving within range that feels comfortable. If you're finding it's painful in certain ranges, you avoid that, or at least kind of go real solid, gentle into it. And I like to go nice and slow. So you're controlling your movement. You're taking it into the ranges that you feel comfortable with. If you're finding, oh, it hurts when I go beyond this angle, then I'm just going to avoid going that angle, right? And then you just work the angle that feels good and feels pain free, if not necessarily pain free, tolerable pain limits. So I like to say tolerable discomfort rather than pain, because it's going to be probably a little sore no matter what you do. But as long as you can tolerate that, I kind of say go for it. Like I said, you want to control the movement, so you don't want to just like fling the weights back and forth. Obviously, that's not helpful. So just slow into the range that you can tolerate, kind of pause at the end there, and then slowly back. And you'll probably find one direction feels a little bit more comfortable, one direction is a little bit more tender. But like I said, play within the range that you can handle. Go slow, steady movement. It's really kind of about time under tension, meaning that the amount of time that your muscles contracted and the tendons contracted for that matter, then that's really what's going to give you kind of long-term healing. You really want to try to progressively overload that tendon. So, you start with a small object, like I said, even if it's like a water bottle, for example, or something, because if it's really flared up, that might be enough to set it off. And then you kind of gradually build up the resistance that you're applying. Um, like I said, a hammer is a common thing that we use. But even if you had, a small stick of some sort, and then you add a weight to the end of it, like I said, a weighted kind of mallet or whatnot, that's a pretty good one. Okay, so moving on. A 20 is probably too heavy for me for this, but wrist curls. Again, typically a dumbbell is great, a water ball, etc. Something with a little bit of weight. Start small, start light, work your way up. Typically, palm up's going to feel better than palm down, but I was going to suggest you do both of those hand positions. So again, palm up, you have the little water bottle start, and then you slowly add on to it. I'm going to use this 10-pound weight because that's all I got right now, but it'll work. And again, usually that grip is going to be tender, so just be aware of Something like this, you can actually grip it a little bit more open, so you might be able to handle a little bit more with your palm more open versus if your palm's like tightly in a fist, right? So you can experiment with what you're carrying and see if that actually helps you allow you to go a little heavier without the discomfort. So again, slow, controlled, all the way up, and then slowly all the way down. Rep it out to the point where you start feeling discomfort. Again, you're working in the range that you feel comfortable going. If you're comfortable up here, but as you kind of get down to neutral and below that sore, then again you kind of play within that range that you can handle. Slow, steady movement. Control the movement. Don't force it through pain, and don't fling the weight around, kind of thing, right? Palm down, again, that's usually where you're going to get the soreness and whatnot. So just take it real easy. Again, going up into the upper position, the wrist is going to be kind of tender. So go real slow, bring it down through full range, get as deep as you can into it, and then back up. And again, with something like this, you might be able to be a bit more comfortable than, again, if you're kind of closed fist doing it with a dumbbell like that. So you can experiment with what you're holding. Again, start light, work your way up, rep it out, get fatigued, work to the point of tolerable discomfort. If it starts with just three reps, 4 reps, whatever, great. And then work your way up to 10, 15, etc. And then once you get to, I'd say 12, 15 reps, that you're going to bump the weight up to the next point. That's a good one. Another one that I like, and again, it really depends on how you're feeling, where things are at in this healing. You want to listen to your body, right? You don't force things when it's not feeling comfortable. I like to do kind of again, this time under tension type of a bicep curl, but basically start light. This 20-pounder might be a little much to start. Start small, and then you're going to do your typical curl, but you're just going to pause at the top for a moment. I'm going to start with palm up curls, and that should be relatively comfortable. And as you do more of a hammer curl or like an inverted curl, that's going to be the most painful. So trying in different ranges of your wrist, meaning different ranges of palm down versus palm up, and that will really start affecting that spot where your elbow is sore. So take it easy, start palm up. And again, you want to do a bicep curl and pause at the top for a moment and then repeat. And then again, slow, steady. That was probably a little fast. I would like to go a little slower than that and all the way up. But again, rotate that wrist down. If you can tolerate the same weight, go for it. But again, if you need to lighten the load a little bit to go that hammer curl, and again, I would probably suggest going quite a bit lighter for the palm down curl. But those are really, really great. Again, the time under tension, try to keep that tendon loaded with some resistance on it, load it up to the point of tolerable discomfort. I think that's a probably good thing for now. Typically, what you want to think about is, soreness at the time of exercise, obviously something to be aware of, but also soreness after. So, usually within a 24-hour period window, if it's like, oh, I flared it up, it's super sore the next day after doing a few of these exercises, then you've probably done too much. Either you've done too many reps, too much load, etc. So adjust something. So lighten up the load, lower down the reps, maybe just do one exercise and see, okay, this exercise is great. 24 hours later, it still feels pretty good. Okay, that's probably a good exercise. I can stick with it. Maybe just stick with the one exercise, bump up the load. But again, if you've done a bunch of these exercises and just blasted the heck out of it, next day you're feeling like, oh man, I'm worse off today than I was yesterday. Obviously, you need to adjust something, lighten something up, either remove exercises, decrease your reps, decrease your load, and hopefully, repeat that again, seeing how you feel. And again, usually you give yourself a 24-hour window to see if things are working. And if they are, great. And if not, like I said, you got to make some adjustments. Feel free to comment down below if you got any specific questions. I'll try to go over it. If you got some injuries yourself and want me to do a quick video on it, feel free. And we'll catch you next time. Thanks, guys.